Right. Good afternoon for all the viewers who are just watching and joining me. Welcome back to the Fourth Direction. My name is Mary Apollo, and today's topic we are going to talk about how to overcome the current problem that are facing youth globally and in the continent, and we are trying to reach to some of the solutions that will be possible for the youth. So as it's going to be other series that we are going to bring different expert use from around the world and have various topics that we are going to talk about. So use, as we know, represent like 75% of the world population in general. They have many challenges that they are facing. There's a lack of resources, unemployment, lack of leadership. With the current situation and the COVID-19, it's becoming harder. A lot of youth are losing their jobs, and they are going through a lot of mental health sickness. There is increase in depression and anxiety and various issues that are going through. We are going to discuss this now with my guests who are joining me on the studio. First, I have Seraphine Sergeant. Welcome. Seraphine Sergeant. She's a PhD student and she's a blogger for the channel, YouTube channel called The Enemy of Success. And I have Sophia Dalla. She's joining us from Angola. Yeah, she's a mining engineer and she's a media expert as well. So getting back to our discussion, for the audience, please send us your thoughts. What do you think about how we can overcome the problem that are facing youth globally in general, and how we can try to find solutions for this problem? Send with your networking and let us discuss that. Yeah, I have my third guest is here, Ambassador Abdel Koloko from Sierra Leone. Welcome. With the Organization of African Youth. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mary. And thank you all the other participants.
Okay. So, Ambassador Abdel Koloko, let me start with you. What do you think some of the challenges that youth face in general?
Our young people face different challenges cut across different societies and different contexts, from challenges in the educational sector, challenges from the home, the families, challenges in the community, and challenges personally to reach their own individual potential or their goals in life. So, take for instance, in the educational sector, young people want to be able to be educated. They also want to get their degree and go through this formal educational system. But there are so many challenges and challenges that young people, I mean, their parents' inability to support them to acquire this education fully, and also other support from the government and other institutions to support them fully for them to acquire the education that they need for them to become relevant or equipped for the job market. Also, problems within their homes. You know, many young people, they grow up without the parents. Some of them, they are orphans. Some of them, they grow up with single parents. Many young people today, they grow up with single parents. And so as a result, they have not been able to be properly groomed and be properly been taken care of since they were growing up. So these are things that are affecting them and it's challenging them so much, so that they grow up not having the right ethics, the right moral, the right behavior pattern that is needed for them to become very useful in society.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they face challenges in the society as well. Society challenges them. Society challenges such as peer pressure, peer group pressures, influence by bad friends, influence to things like drug abuse, to crime, to violence, and also even some of them are easily influenced by political political influence because they're vulnerable, and so they just think that political parties, mostly during election, can just take advantage of them at the time they need them so much and so much.
Mm-hmm.
So these are basically like some of the category of challenges that young people face on a daily basis that limits their potential, that limits them from becoming who they want to become in life, from achieving what they want to achieve in life, basically.
Mm-hmm. So, Seraphine, let me go back. Let me go to you. So, when we talk about the challenges that youth face, uh, what are some of the spiritual challenges that they have?
What are some of the choices that they have?
Spiritual challenges that youth face. Can you hear me now? I can't hear you.
Sometimes, okay. Sometimes can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes, because of the little knowledge and experience that they've acquired over the years, because of this experience are limited, they are not accepted in society. Society, there are only few opportunities around which can change their life. For example, young people want to be in entertainment. Young people want to start their own businesses. Young people want to contribute to the environment. Young people want to socialize and engage. But because of their background, because of what they've gone through, that is not, society feel that they're not fully equipped to join or to be a part of the system. For example, if young people want to engage in something like entertainment or social life, because they grew up having little knowledge about music or dance or something very creative, the society doesn't easily accept them, doesn't provide enabling environment where they can thrive, where they can succeed easily. It's like they have to go back to the beginning and start to learn something before they can be easily accepted. So the society also has this retrospective approach to young people, and it gives them the edge of them not feeling that confident enough for them to take up the challenges that they need to and the challenges that they need to survive in the environment.
Mm-hmm. Seraphine, what's some of these boundaries that limit you from success? I can't hear you. Maybe I can go to Sophia. Welcome, Sophia.
Hello.
Yes, so you are a mining engineer by education, and then you become. I think there is some echoing in there. Let me find out what is wrong.
Hello. Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, so I say you are a mining engineer by education and by professional. Then you become executive media, and you teach yourself other skills where you become multi-experts. What drive you to do that?
First of all, good evening to everyone. It's evening already. So yes, I'm a mining engineer. I studied in Russia and I finished my graduation in 2015. So when I came back to Angola, I found a big challenge to get a job. So there is a high level of unemployment in the country, more than 4 billion unemployed, especially young people unemployed. And the oil fields, to get a job in those companies, we still are dealing with those kinds of issues like nepotism. If you want a job, you must know someone, you must have contacts. So through these kinds of relationship, family, friends, so you can get a job. And it is very difficult. And I lived in Russia for 10 years. I went there when I was too young. So when I came back to Africa, so it is really different world. Things in Africa are very heavy, difficult. These competitions, this necessary competition, unfair labor practices, corruption, the high level of corruption. So I decided to change the direction. So we know that we cannot focus only in an area of study or of work. If we can't find a solution in that field, where we have education, we must change and try to find another field where you can set yourself and you can develop yourself. So as I could not find a job in the oil industry, I decided to change the profession, to study more. I went to South Africa. I won a scholarship from OSISA, Open Society Foundation for Southern Africa. So the proposal was to have more women in media industry. As we know, the media industry is also still facing challenges, many challenges, freedom of speech, gender inequality. We don't have many women taking leadership position in the organizations, not only in media, in everywhere. If we see in Africa, most leaders are men rather than women. So their proposal was to empower women in media organizations. And I won that scholarship. I went to South Africa. I studied at Rhodes University, 1 year in media management and leadership. And I really liked it. And I thought that I was developing well. The education was very good. And I decided to create my own blog and share knowledge, and also to motivate other people that are struggling in my community to find the jobs, and also to tell them that you cannot wait for a job to come to you. If you can't find something, you must go and find the solution in other place. You must find opportunities there where others don't see. Because I think these kinds of challenges were created were created also by the government and our parents as well. When we were child, we went to school. Our teacher didn't teach us how to study and after go create a job and employ people. They were teaching us, you study and you go and look for jobs. Someone will give you a job. I think these are the main challenges we are facing. Now the crisis came, and we cannot, we also are in crisis. We are unemployed, we don't have jobs because we don't have that education that you study to create a job. Use your knowledge and create a job for other people. Use your knowledge and develop your country. We don't have this kind of education. We just know that I'm studying to have a job and earn salaries, eat and feed my family. This is the education we received. Now we are facing these kinds of challenges. So this is my aim now, to start making changes and to start breaking this kind of mentality that we have. So people can survive. We already understand, and COVID is a good lesson. It's teaching us many things. That so the crisis now, so jobs are closed, schools are closed. So what can do? So we must start using our knowledge, the knowledge we receive, to start bringing solution to these challenges we are facing.
So, Seraphine, welcome back. I still can't hear you. I think there is a problem with the headphones, maybe. Or you tried it out. Just maybe try to raise the voice from your device and then you can hear me. Yeah, because you were clear at the beginning. So, Kaloko, let me go back to you because your organization, the African Young Youth, you also work in leadership development. So when you talk about leadership program, what kind of programs do you think can be designed for youth to develop their ability as leaders?
Okay, in about a year ago, I took part in an online course that was prepared to train young people in the 21st century for global leadership. It is called the Commonwealth 100. Okay, it's a platform that anybody can check in and they can enroll. It's a free online training course that equips thousands of young people on leadership. Basically, it's an open source platform that equip you and that teaches you on how leaders in the 21st century, especially young people, can grow up and become responsible leaders that are trustworthy, that are interconnected, and they are smart, and they're reliable, and they're up to the task. So basically, young leaders need to be equipped with the relevant tools and the resources for them to take up leadership positions in different contexts in society. Again, when we say leadership, it doesn't have to be. Sometimes we easily tempted to think is like political leadership, but it doesn't stop there. It can be leadership in any sector, within your educational sector, within your organization, within your community, even at your home. You can lead from your home. So young people need to understand this. When they say you're preparing yourself for leadership, it doesn't mean that it has to be for tomorrow. It starts from where you are. Maybe you are within a society, within a group of other people. How do you take leadership? Basically, leadership is responsibility, taking up responsibility. Also, leadership is influence. How do you take up the responsibility to take up on task, to deliver, to be decisive, to be responsible, to care for one another in a transparent, in a clean and ethical manner that can produce better results and enable those within the group also to achieve and become better citizens. So again, leadership is influence. How can you be able to influence the people around you positively and give them the platform for them also to take up shared responsibility? If you are a leader within any sector, you must have that command. You must have the power to relate with one another in a transparent manner and be able to make the necessary change within that particular group you are. So basically, young people need to position themselves. Not everybody is called to become a leader. Some, they're just born to work together within a group or to serve as followers also within a particular group. But again, if you have decided that you want to be a leader, then you must set yourself apart. Then you must be ready to pay the price, because leadership, it takes a lot of virtues you must have as a person, as an individual, for you to emerge as a better leader. You must have patience. You must have love for one another. You must care for the people that you work with. And one really great measure of a leader is that direct relationship that you have with almost all the people that you work with. So leadership in their context is very, very important. Some people, they lead, but at the end of the day, they just have just a set of people that they focus on, and then at the end of the day, it's like a ship sailing on the sea. So if there is a heavy weight on one side of the ship, then there is a tendency for that ship to sink.
Mhm.
But if there's a balance in the ship,
Mhm.
if there's a proper balance, then it will sail across, and you guys will definitely reach to that destination that all of you, which is like the goal of the vision of that institution, of that political party, or that family, or that social group, as the case might be. So,
Mhm.
first of all, the young people must position themselves to serve as leader. Leadership takes sacrifice. It takes you to be able to stand for the rest of the team. It takes you to have, of course, practically, it will cause people to go to have sleepless nights, for you to have use your own personal resources and be able to overcome some of the shortcomings, the challenges that you will go through as a leader. So
Mhm.
basically, if young people wants to position themselves as leader, it happens that it starts with you setting yourself aside, setting yourself apart, and decide that it will have to take a lot. It has to take a lot of sacrifice, that's a lot of determination, and you must be really, really ready to serve in that capacity as a leader and be able to lead people to where they're supposed to be in society.
Mhm. So, Seraphine,
Yes, can you hear
welcome
me?
back. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
thank you.
what are some of the challenges that holding youth back, spiritually?
So there's a lot of echoes at the background, so I didn't catch the
I,
question.
I don't know what is wrong, but I think let me try to mute some of. Yes.
Okay, what was the question, please?
What are some of the boundaries that bind young people use from moving forward, from achieving their goals in life?
Okay, I couldn't agree more with the other participant who shared what they think.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that many young people, we have this like a fantasy idea that when I graduate with school, there will be a
Mm-hmm.
job waiting for me so that I can advance. So we don't prepare ourselves to be creative. So we just like put our hope into government
Mm-hmm.
or other private sectors to get a job. That's number one, that I think it's a wrong attitude, but that's the information we have been given since we are early. So we have been told that if you want to be successful, you need to go to school. There's nothing wrong with going to school, but if your whole like a vision is like I'm going to get there, be successful because of somebody else giving me job, it may not work. And another thing that I have realized that when we go to school, we're filled by like a head knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't get to be taught about how to. So all we have is this head knowledge, and but you don't really know how to. The hardest part of life that I have realized to be successful in anything is to know how to do something.
Mm-hmm.
There's one lady, I believe her name is Beverly Seals. She said there is no shortcuts to any place worth going. But sometimes we have that idea, like once I have my degree, I'm gonna get there. But one thing I can really say is that young men and women, we need to be creative. We need to look around, have that mindset of entrepreneurship, look
Mm-hmm.
around and see the needs in our community. And like once you have identified the need, then you can be able to find a solution or a product or a service that can meet with the need around you. And that's how really we can start being creative and moving forward and be successful. And also the last thing is that many of young people, they don't know what they want in life.
Mm-hmm.
So when you don't really know what you want, it's so hard to get anywhere you want unless you have the end in mind of like at the end result where you want to be, where you see yourself. That helps you either in terms of like looking for jobs or in terms of putting yourself together and create something, a business or something like that, because you know your end goal. but many of us, we don't really know what we want until it's kind of like too late.
Okay. Sophia, I think one of you have written this implementation of the e-learning out of school, young women and girls in Angola. How can we solve the issue of education, or broadly for women in general in the continent, to be part of the decision making to change their life?
Hi, yes. This is a very important question. We know that women usually are left behind, and family, especially people, prioritize men rather than women. We can see this challenge even in the family, where women usually stay at home taking care of kids, of the house, while guys are going to school. Especially you can see it in the poor family, where guys are going to school, they are going to work, and as a result, there is issues of child marriage. So if a woman is not educated, there is no way she must just get married. And and we know that in Angola, for instance, women are the majority in the country, and many of these women are not educated. Of course, if the majority of the country is not educated, and we also can, there won't be development, economic growth, and nothing. The country will continue living in the extremely poverty. So the government, and not only the government, as we also African people used to be ignorant. We think that internet and these kinds of things, creativity that we see, is not for black people, it's for white people. Many people in Africa still think like this. And this is very important. This development, this diversity, innovative solution that white people are creating. And I think we must also embrace these kinds of innovations. But because of our mentality that are keeping us living in the extremely poverty, we are not developing. So the government, especially, since from the beginning, didn't create any e-learning, online or distancing learning, e-learning systems. The government just didn't create in Angola. Maybe at that time they thought that it is not important. As many of them, they thought, they think, it's why. So now the coronavirus came, and people in Angola are not studying. The education in Angola just stopped, while other countries are studying online. But we are not studying online because we didn't create this solution, this educational system before. Now people are suffering. And we have the increased level of crimes, unemployment, illiteracy, and so on. So I wrote this research because of the high level of illiteracy among women in Angola. And they are the majority. I think the end, we don't have many schools in Angola. We have too many people, and the elite schools are not too many. And many people just are not studying, not because they don't have money, just because the schools are full. In Africa school, we used to have 100 people in the room, and it is also, and the student that is sitting back, he doesn't just, he is not learning anything because he's so far from the teacher. So this is one of the issues. Another issue is also the high level of poverty. Of course, many people are living in extremely poverty. They can't send their girls to school. They prefer to send male because these guys, because they are the men. Yes, we also have these kinds of gender inequality. Men is the man in the family, man is there. So these are the things that used to delay our lives, women, so especially. So then I found this solution. So for those people that cannot achieve the face-to-face education, they can study online. Yes, it is good. I even wrote it before the coronavirus. I wrote it last year. And this solution was well accepted. I won a workshop. I went to Ghana. The workshop was organized by African Union, where we're talking about these kind of issues. I wrote this research not only for women and also for disabled people, that these also are facing this kind of discrimination. We know, and it is good, but there are many challenges that can avoid this to happen. Firstly, people are not digitally educated. So we have also we are still dealing with these two issues of digital technology. Many people can't don't understand how to work with technology. It is one. Secondly, there is also internet issues. Internet in Africa, especially in Angola, is very expensive, very expensive, and people can't afford. And people will not just spend money to buy internet and study because they just don't have money. It is very expensive. And another issue is also the things in Angola in general are very expensive. Not many people have digital cell phones. Not everybody has computer. No matter how university tries to implement this online education during coronavirus, Zoom conferences, it is not working because many teachers, professors are not also digitally literate. They don't understand technology, many of them. And students as well, many of them also don't understand technology, how to use. And many of them don't have these cell phones, don't have computers. The same is applied to teachers. They don't have computers, they don't have cell phones, they use those small cell phones. So, and it is a challenge. So the reason why people tried, but it is just not working. People don't have money to buy internet. People don't have digital cell phone. People, even those who have, they don't understand how to manage this technology because of I understand we have a war and we also were colonized by Portuguese people. We still have that kind of mentality that this kind of issue is so white. While the internet and technology entered in Africa a long time ago, but people are afraid. People just are afraid. They think it is not for us. Also, people don't want to change. I think we must change our minds. We must start by changing people's minds so we can develop. If we will not change our mind, we will not go so far. This is the problem. Even though you find a solution, but people don't want to accept it. Where are you going to implement your solution? People themselves are problems. People are resilient. When they see changes like this, they just are afraid of these changes. So we are still dealing with these kinds of issues. For instance, in Angola, they're trying to bring computers to school, but we are still dealing with water issues, electricity issues. There is no electricity in those schools. How can these computers work? So we don't think we want to. We're trying also to bring those foreign culture, Europe, culture from America, from Europe to implement in Africa. Yes, it is good, but we have another we have another reality. You cannot bring just those computers while you don't set electricity. So
let me go
these kinds of issues.
In this point, 80% of the country of youth in Sierra Leone are unable to make enough income. You know, they make each youth at least they make $1 per day. So how can they use the digital revolution to create job income out of them? And then also to the point of volunteerism, because your organization also work with volunteer. How do you envision the kind of volunteers work should be?
Okay, first of all, volunteering provide the precedent for, let's say, young people to get experience, which is very, very much important, and to be able to associate with people that are relevant within the different institutions and which they work in. So volunteering is about getting and gaining the experience that is needed, basically. Um, but looking at how young people can really thrive and overcome the challenges, taken into context, like
Mm-hmm.
you asked, in countries like Sierra Leone, where the average Sierra Leonean live in less than $1 per
Yes,
day or
dollar per
two.
day. Mm-hmm.
Um, Looking at the picture right now in Sierra Leone, for about 3, 4, 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
there has been a drastic change and a swift in many people, especially young people, creating their own job
Mm-hmm.
through entrepreneurship development. It's like a wind blowing through the whole city. You see a lot of young people. Some of them, they have their own job, they work in the office, but at the same time, they create their what they call a side hustle or their side business that they make money. So
Mm-hmm.
in Sierra Leone right now, we have a small population, and of course, the city also is very small. So it's like a whole wind is blowing, and people are getting the understanding that you
Uh-huh.
have to create like a multiple source of income, which we call the MSI, where you have a multiple stream also,
Uh-huh.
or different revenue stream,
Mm-hmm.
where you can have money from different angle coming from different places, and which you can survive and live by. So young people are currently having that awareness, which is very, very much important. Over like 7, 8 to 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't like that. People just hope to get a job after they finish the college or the university, and thinking that it just works like it just have to work like that. But
Mm-hmm.
like I'm saying right now, people are getting the entrepreneurship education that is needed to start up a business. Lot of entrepreneurship or startup business competition is ongoing. Of course, we have reputable ones like we have a monthly program we call the Freetown Pitch Night,
Mm-hmm.
which we encourage people random from the whole country to just register and pitch your idea in front of dignitaries. I mean, high personalities within the country, from the city mayor to the CEO of telecommunication mobile companies and banking institutions, and so on and so forth. So you present your idea. If you get spotted on, or if you have people who are interested in what you're doing, of course, then you can get the support that is needed. Remarkably, also, the Diamond Challenge that our organization started about 2 years ago, which focuses on or targets young people, students basically in high school level. We recruit them, we equip them with training, we engage them, and we train them how they could look at the society basically and
Mm-hmm.
identify problems.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, on a daily basis in Sierra Leone, we there are so many problems. So
So
we let them know that they are change agents, and then how they can narrow down their thoughts and their approach to creating the solution,
I just
thereby generating income. And yes,
let me go to
and
the
and and,
point of
and
volunteerism that can prepare youth to lead and to learn, but at the same time, if it's not like a source of income, how it can be as something sustainable that youth can do.
well, every setting has its own advantage and disadvantage. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
as for volunteering, one of its greatest strengths and advantage is the ability for you to learn and acquire skills. And then also for you to serve, for you to represent like a change maker, or social change agent within the society. Volunteering, for example, if you said volunteer for the environment, go and clean up the environment, you don't need to wait for a project to be approved, for money to be available to do that. You just contribute. Volunteering
Mm-hmm.
also create an opportunity for you to contribute in society. So basically, that's the advantage. I think each setting we have to emphasize on its advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if you say, how do people benefit without a payment for people who volunteer? Then I think the payment we have to put in the context. What do we mean by that? Does it have to
Mm-hmm.
be money that has to be given to the people who volunteer, or we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about payment that people will acquire something also beneficial for them? So
Mm-hmm.
that's we have to look into context. But in terms of money acquisition for volunteering, some institution or some work provide incentive or stipend for people who volunteer. I mean, that's cool. But again, where there's a setting where there is no money that is being stated for people who want to volunteer, and I think the end goal is basically to get the experience. Like I said, also it's also an opportunity to network, where you move around the people, the organizers, and meet other like-minded people who are volunteering like you in that particular setting. It's also very advantageous that you use that opportunity to network alone. To network a lot, and also to connect with more people for future references and so on and so forth. Is also not only the experience, but you learn. You have to learn. Like for me, myself, many years ago, I started most of my work volunteering in different communities in and out of my country, just working, just to ensure. And I think we should all have the understanding that not everything should be paid for. Yes, I mean, it's just very important that we all have to know that not every work that has to be paid for financially. Let me put it that way. So there's some work they just require people who should serve. And not all work also will be paid with the equivalent of the amount of effort that will be placed on that work. Take, for instance, the people the health workers who are at the front line on fighting COVID-19 in different communities, in different countries. Some of them, basically, the service that they're providing, the money that they get at the end of the day is not enough. It's not commensurate to the kind of work or the effort or the risk they are putting their life to. So most of the work they put on, the money cannot be commensurate to the kind of work. So it's just important that at the end of the day, they just have to serve. There has to be some few people who just need to be there to serve. And those are the volunteers. They just have to serve. It doesn't have to be that they have to get money at the end of the day. But there are some people, if you identify yourself as a calling to serve the community by volunteering and providing necessary service in different society, and I think it's just best that you have to follow that and just go by that and be that change maker or that change agent that the world, that the community, and that the country need at that particular time.
Okay, Sophia, how we can solve this problem of unemployment? Right, there is Africa. In general, they have only 3 million jobs that they're providing for youth in the formal sector, in government, and right now with the COVID-19, a lot of youth are losing their jobs. So how can this problem be solved, in your opinion?
I agree what Abdul has just said. I think these questions, all these questions are related to each other. They're just linked. I think we as a youth, we must find a solution for this. We can use our knowledge to make money. If the government cannot give us job, as there is of this kind of COVID, we have many ways to monetize. Besides volunteering, if you can, how can do mask? We see now this mask of African fabric. So people can do it and sell. If you want to help others who do not have money to buy this mask, you can do it. So 70% you will sell, and 30% you can help those poor people in the community. Give them it for free. You can start fundraising, especially in the internet. We have many investors, international investors that want to help Africans. So reason why we must the internet is a very good opportunity to find jobs and to fundraise money and help your community. You can use your skills and share it in the internet, and you can also make money with it. You can create a blog and you can share your things there, and people that are interested, they will buy it. So these are the solutions. Internet now is very helpful. If you are a teacher, you are now unemployed, you can go to school, you can use the subject you teach and teach it in the internet. You can do it for free. And you also,
what kind of programs do you recommend people, or trainings?
Yeah, there are some programs that are paid, but in this time, yes, people don't have money. YouTube offers. YouTube is very useful program for teaching. We have people can learn from YouTube, Facebook as well. You can also share. You can also share your videos. So you can also organize this kind of webinars. We are now with your share your knowledge. We have blog. Google also offers many different diversity types of programs that you can also share your knowledge. You can use for teaching, like blog. These programs are for free. But as people don't have those digital skills, don't have knowledge how to use it, it is now a challenge. Reason why we have the knowledge must now starting sharing and teaching people how to use internet. This is one of the solutions we can help our community to grow and find a solution.
So,
economic solution.
Ambassador Abdo, with the COVID-19,
Yes.
I think Sierra Leone has already, from the third week, they have put a measurement to tackle the problem, because the country has been in the Ebola crisis before in 2013 and 2016. And we see that there's a lot of youth who went in the front line and they volunteer and they reach out to the community. What does that mean?
Okay. Yes. We've been to similar crises like this.
So we're still on our topic today, how we can overcome the youth challenges. Please unmute yourself. Yeah, you can continue.
Okay, so basically, young people have been in Sierra Leone have been into similar situations like this, like you mentioned during the Ebola. So we now have definitely an understanding in terms of response strategy, and then how to cope with the emotional factors that surround it, in terms of the stress, in terms of how would they would deal with each other, how do we succumb to the measures that has been that has been put in place by the government. So the understanding is there. Now, young people also taking the lead when it comes to serving. Basically, most of them volunteer, and they think like this is a very good opportunity for them to volunteer and serve in aspects such as information dissemination, which is a key strategy in terms of curtailing the spread of the disease. So we saw the active use of young people using various forms of information dissemination, such as using online platform, going on the ground, using microphones into communities, informing the public about the necessary measures that needs to be taking place, for them to have the information that is needed, for them to be able to keep themselves safe, and not being able to spread out the disease if they have it in one way or the other. So young people have taken the lead in these processes. Also, we see that in amongst many of the health workers, young people also are actively involved. But amidst of this all, I think the courage is there, the hope is there. Because one thing that can knock anybody easily is when they lose hope in situations of crisis and chaos within a society. Once you lose hope, the tendency that you cannot fulfill your dreams. Before the COVID-19 struck in the country, in different countries, many people had plans. Many people had crafted their own activities, things that they wanted to do during the course of this year and even after this year. But the outbreak of the disease definitely just interrupted and destroyed so many of the activities that had been planned before. So, but again, being that we are much more really resilient in terms of our experience in not only the Ebola, but we had the flooding, we had the mudslide, or the disaster that took place in the past year. So young people are more resilient, you understand, and we are very much hopeful. So the whole atmosphere during the COVID-19 here in Sweden was a little bit more calm and little more understanding, like I said, based on past experience. So basically, young people, we took some young people who took up the challenge. Like I have some of my young fellow leaders who had been into the border areas, bordering the next neighboring country, Guinea and Liberia, ensuring that they pass the message from people traveling from one country to the other, people traveling from one district to the other, to ensure that they have the right information, they take the right measures that is needed to be taken, so that they are safe from their homes within the family, from their neighborhood, and also as a whole society in the country. How should everybody be safe? So young people, we tried very hard in taking up certain leading role, and also not only that, it has been also essential that amidst of all the intervention, also amidst of all the intervention, also to keep ourselves safe amidst of all this crisis, is how many young people position themselves. I remember some time ago on social media, we had so many people were saying, "Oh, this is a good time to plan for your next venture, to plan your business goal, your business, the next business that you want to take on in the future. This is actually the best time to plan on the next big venture."
Yes.
So that was very, very much important. Yes, because there was that awareness amongst young people to say, "Oh, amidst of this crisis, I cannot do nothing to stop it." Basically, yes, I've tried to educate my peers, the people around me, but again, how do I position myself to be active and to be successful in what we call the post-corona era? So young people, many young people were actively engaged. As a matter of fact, many businesses amongst young people started during this corona virus period in Sierra Leone. As I speak to you now, on a daily basis, I keep receiving or seeing flyers about food vendors, people who are making food, they want to sell because they think that, oh, because now they're at home, many people want to eat, but they can't go to the restaurant, they can't go to the hotel, they can't go to places where they can buy. So people are
So,
creating mobile food businesses. It's just like just sweeping like all over the place, and so on and so forth. So many other businesses have been developed, have been created during this period. So I think for Sierra Leone, many young people took advantage of this time, and some of
and
them
how
took
can
advantage by reminiscing and see that this is a very crucial time and that we need to prepare ourselves not only now but also to embrace the future.
how can you pass the this voice for the youth in other countries?
Well, yes, the information is simple. You see, there was a question that was asked to the other lady here about how do we embrace digital technology for the future.
Yeah.
I think it's very important. One of the most valuable tools that we have right now in our midst is technology. And how do we leverage this technology to be able to start up what we have or what we want to do, and also to thrive in the next era or the next decade is very, very much important. So first of all, every young people must look at what they have. And this has been the biggest challenge. Many people want to start something, they want to do something, but they always look at the bigger picture and they see so many impossibilities. And that has hindered so many growth, and it hindered so many business to start. So what I can say to you, to every young people, is to actually look at what they have right now. The best way to start is to look at what you have and how to really make use of what you have within your reach. So like I was saying, the biggest tool that young people do have right now is technology. So how do we utilize technology? One is to get the necessary education that is needed. Okay, many people want to jump into certain venture, but at the same time, they have little or no knowledge about what they want to get into. So as a result of that, it limits their ability to succeed. It limits their ability to move forward and succeed in whatever they want to do. So basically, it's to use technology now to acquire the knowledge that is needed for your next venture. Secondly, you can use technology to network, to connect.
Mm-hmm.
So you can connect to individuals, you can connect to institutions, you can connect to various platforms, and so on and so forth. You can use this technology to network and to expand, okay, on your with your institution or your individual profile. That is what. Also, you can use technology also to leverage within your business. If you have a business that is being registered, you want to push it, of course, you can just use technology to just share out the information. Thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people can see and be able to tap into what you're doing. So basically, this is how young people can really position themselves. Technology is one greatest tool that we can use to position ourselves. Secondly, during this COVID-19, a team of young people, we were able to really diagnose about how do we, what are the things that we really need to tap into to get us to be really well grounded and be able to benefit now and in the future. And we realize that there are certain key areas that we need to tap into. And one of them is through agriculture. Agriculture, for many reasons, is a sector that has been neglected, and in some cases had been frowned upon. And so we look at agriculture as one key areas that young people really need to tap into, because food security is a key. We cannot live on a daily basis without food, without eating, without having the necessary ingredients to keep our body healthy and to live healthy life. So tapping into agriculture is one big area that young people really need to consider if we want to grab in what we need to grab in now and position ourselves in the future. Tapping into agriculture doesn't only feed us today, but also create revenue. Okay, like I said, embracing technology, leveraging it up on its importance, tapping into agriculture, and then also thirdly is about entrepreneurship, like the business development. How do we look at the society? How do we look at the problems and identify the right solution to tackle those problems? I think those are like, if I could give a takeaway, these are like the key areas which young people can really leverage on going forward.
So Finn, going to you back, how do you envision the leadership of women in the continent for the upcoming years, 10 years?
Sorry?
Is there will be women in leadership in the continent for the upcoming 10 years?
Yes. With this crisis now, there will be. Women are very hardworking. And sorry.
And what they need to,
yes,
to leverage them to that stage?
They need to give them opportunity for themselves. They must stop depending on their husbands. They must go. They must speak out if they don't like something, and they just must go and think for themselves. Because we women in Africa, we work for our children, for our husband. We think we don't work for us. We don't think about us. We think when we get married, so our life is on to take care of children. We forget about other things. So I think we must just change. We must keep empowering women. Women must learn a lot. Women must go and find information on the internet and take example from other successful women in the world and change. And someone must tell them. Someone must tell them that things now it is the right time to change things, to make things different. So we must tell people that they need to change. So these women can see and go out.
Okay, thank you. Abdul Koloko,
Yes.
the last point, Sierra Leone is one of the African country that have the Ministry of Youth and Sports from the younger generation, and there is many African countries who are moving on that platform. One of them is Chad and South Sudan. How is the future look for youth in leadership in Africa and worldwide?
We saw recently there has been major appointments of young people in different countries. And then also Sierra Leone is not an exception. Just about a week ago, our president just appointed the youngest ever Minister of Mines who's just about 30-something years old. Um, all the key leadership position, young people do occupy them here in Sierra Leone, and of course globally as well. So I think there is hope for more young people in leadership position. But like I was saying, it hasn't also only had to be like political leadership,
Mm-hmm.
but how do young people occupy a leadership position in other sectors and in other corporate institutions, not only public offices, but other private institutions, other non-governmental organizations, other international non-governmental organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking forward to that. And so it's very key. Like I said, there has been a very great strive across the
Mm-hmm.
continent. And one of the advantages is this, because many people argue the point that why young people, you see, one is because young people, we carry everything, okay? In terms of the border, in terms of the task, we are just ready, okay? We are just strong, we are just agile, we have the effort, we have the strength to carry most of the physical work, even as we go day by day in what we do. And secondly, also young people are more prone to taking more risk than elderly people if they're given a position. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so for example, young people can easily say, okay, let's just do it. You know how young people can be? They can be super, super, so active in almost everything that they do that they risk taker. And in most of those activities that they do, that's where they find the success and that's where they produce the result that is needed in the society.
Mm-hmm.
So there are so many reasons, there's so many advantages I can give that why it is needed or why is it necessary for young people to continue to take up leadership position. And also, like I said, the strength is, I mean, they cannot just get tired easily compared to people who are aged when they occupy positions. And then
Mm-hmm.
young people also, they tend to share more opportunities. This has been very, very much practical. Okay, when you are young, you have little tendency to lose so many things. It's just like you're a kid. When a child is being born, you see them playing all around the place. Okay, and some of the time, and most of the time, only if you sense a particular danger within a particular environment before you can
Mm-hmm.
really caution them. So it's the same as young people compared to older people. Young people tend to just move around and get so many things done within the shortest possible time, and compared to older people. So I see a future. Yes, of course, I see the possibility for young people, more young people taking leadership position, not only politically, also in other spheres of society. So what I can say to young people is, first of all, we need to position ourselves. We need to be determined. We need to have the leadership mindset on a daily basis and set ourselves apart, set ourselves as those people that we must be looked upon to be able to tackle or to lead those that are following us. We need to position ourselves. Also, we need to equip ourselves with the right information, with the right knowledge along the way. We need to have the necessary ingredient, necessary habit, the trait, the characteristics of a very good leader. All of this we must really equip ourselves in it so that we are fully and heavily loaded and equipped when the right opportunities strike us when we take up those leadership positions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ambassador
Yes, you're welcome.
Abdullah.
Yes.
Thank you. I just reached the end of the show.
Okay.
I would like to thank all my guests who joined me today. My guests were Seraphine Surgeon. She's a blogger of the Enemy of Success YouTube channel in YouTube. Ambassador Abdul Koloko from Sierra Leone, the Organization of African Youth, and Sophia Dalla. She's a mining engineer and executive media director. And thank you for all the audience who joined us today, and the people who send their views, who send their opinion, who keep watching the Forward Direction. I'm the host, Mary Apollo. I will leave you for here until I meet you for the next show for different topics and different guests. Thank you. Also, don't forget to send us your suggestions, your opinion. What do you think about the show? Which kind of topic we can include and work on it. Thank you. Bye. Have a good day.